Oof, I really don't feel like working out. This is one morning where I really don't feel like it. This dude got on high heel boots and shorts. Actually, this needs to go further. There we go. Marseille Jazz Festival. Thank you for the like. The crazy thing about being on tour as a musician, you gotta know how to eat. You it depends on the kind of tour. Like a local guy here in Metro Atlanta, you know, um, he's touring with Janet Jackson. So you're not really going anywhere but up from there. And he's like a local guy. Like, you go to jam sessions and you see him there, you know. And he just randomly got chosen, you know, to tour with Janet Jackson. And um, Can't remember his name. Well, he's been around forever. Local guy. Um, but so there's no, he ain't going down. He's either gonna stay at that level or go up because of the person he's playing for. It's kind of like Tony Royster. And Tony Royster, his first big tour, I remember seeing him just before the tour. We were at a jam session. It was him, a few other guys. We were all sitting in one section. And next thing I know, he's in California. They're like, man, you heard what happened to Tony? I'm like, what? He said, yeah, he's playing for Jay-Z. I'm like, what? This is a while ago. During the American Gangster Tour. But he's not going anywhere down. He's not going down. He's only now he's on tour with Katy Perry. Like, he's a major guy. You know, you get a tour like that, you straight. You know, you're making 80 to 90K. You know, easy 80 to 90K. A year, you know, or a tour, you know. Now you got to have other ancillary things to kind of keep you afloat to the next tour. You got to have stuff lined up. But if you go on a year tour, 80, 90K, you know, it also depends on, I'm saying a year. Depends on how long the tour is, you know. Oh, but I'll say this. If you're not there yet, you got to know how to eat on tour. When I say you got to know how to eat on tour, chicken salad. You know, a nice salad and some chicken. You know, that's like, you know, it's pretty healthy. You know, it's usually chicken breast or whatever, grilled or whatever, and a salad. You know, but eat like burgers and fries and all that junk. You know, a lot of guys on tour, a lot of touring musicians, they don't live long because they just don't know how to eat. They eat a bunch of junk. You know, you know, and a lot of them don't exercise. Oh, excuse me. A lot of them just don't. They don't exercise. You know, like you can tour for years and not realize, you know, you're on tour. You get off tour. You do, like a friend of mine. He used to come here. We would all shed. He's on tour with a country band. Yeah, man. He was already a husky dude, but now he's like big. I'm like, oh, bro, you're looking unhealthy, man. And he's endorsed by Gretsch. You know, it's kind of weird. You know, I mean, he's doing his thing. And I'm like, bro, you gotta get healthy, man. You gotta, going from a tour bus to a hotel, you know. And there, he's like in the middle. Going from a tour bus to a hotel, to a stage to play drums, back to a hotel, back to a tour bus to the next place. But you know what I mean? It's sedentary. You know. And you gotta exercise. You gotta exercise and learn how to eat on tour. Like I heard this some really wise, a really wise kind of answer. And he's right. I just naturally eat like that, but he was just saying it. I asked him, they asked 50 Cent. He said, how do you stay healthy on tour? He said, well, I eat a lot of, was it that? No. I was listening to one of his books. and it was talking about touring life. Like, night after night, eating a bunch of junk and all of that. It takes a toll on you. And he likes to keep fit, which means you got to eat the right stuff, as well as exercise. Get used to calisthenics, have a regimen, and usually the thing you can find on tour is chicken salad. A salad with chopped up chicken, you're good. And he's right. I've heard guys where they'll eat the lettuce. If they go to a burger joint, they'll take the lettuce, they'll take the meat, and they won't eat the burger. They won't eat the bread. Because bread, after a while, especially if you're sedentary, makes you fat, So you get to a point in life where you got to kind of limit the amount of complex carbs. Because bread is like complex carbs. It takes a while for your body to break it down. The simple stuff like rice burns right off. Pasta is a good source of energy, but eating pasta every night, you'll become like a Pillsbury Doughboy. But bread and greasy spoon joint places, nah. There are times where, I had over the road gigs, and I just wouldn't eat. And I'm relatively healthy, so I could go on tour night after night and perform. I wouldn't eat, or I would have stuff. I'd usually have almonds or something like that. Or salmon jerky or something like that. But if they're going to greasy spoon joints, I'll be like, nah, I'm good. And I would go somewhere else. Or I just wouldn't eat. If there was nothing else there, some nights I only ate 2 meals. Some nights I only ate 1 meal. But my body's used to it. But I had to make a decision. Like, nah, I'm not eating that junk. Not happening. Because it may be fine now, but later on it catches up to you. It definitely catches up to you. Like right now I'm listening to this band. I'm looking at the pianist. He's got this going on. I'm like, bro, you're too young for that. You're younger than me, and I don't have it. You're too young for that. The bass player is like, the drummer is looking like he's, Well, I can't say that, because I first knew who he was when he was at Berkeley. When you're in college, you're slim. You're still fighting weight. They say that freshman 15, nah. Some people, you may gain like 15 pounds. Like my daughter lost weight. She's like me. She's got a high metabolism, so, Plus, there's a lot of stuff she can't eat. She just can't eat it. She's allergic to it. Wow, this guy plays drums just like me. He goes for the same riffs. Great minds think alike. Oof. But yeah, you know, it takes a lot, man. It takes putting a lot of thought into taking care of yourself while you're on tour, if you're a touring musician, you know. Um, and you have to be intentional, you know. What kind of symbol is that? Or is it a stack? It looks like a regular symbol, but it sounds like a stack. That's got to be a stack. That's got to be a stack, man. That is a stack. It's a stack. I posted an old clip, not a clip, an old article about me in Drum Magazine. That I don't even know if Drum Magazine is still around. It should be. But yeah, they posted it. They did an article on me. You know. They were like, hey, send us a picture. We're gonna ask you questions and blah 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 blah. I was like, okay, cool. So we did like an over the phone interview. They checked out my material. Who I was playing with and what have you. But it's kind of like my friend, a guy I used to be in a band with. It's kind of weird. Because it's like familiarity breeds contempt. And I don't know. I guess he didn't think. I don't know. I guess he didn't think like, oh, Mark's like. Not to say that I'm, the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I think he was just kind of like, wait a minute. He was surprised. He was definitely surprised. That like I was in Drum Magazine. You know. And I've had a bunch of articles written up about me. But that just popped up on my timeline. No, I actually found a magazine that I was in. And I was like, wow, this was 10 years ago. I took a picture of it. And that's all I did. I just took a picture of the article, what it said, and what have you. And I was like, wow, this was 10 years ago. And he kind of lost it. He was like, whoa. I don't know. it's weird because I'm at a place in my life now where a lot of my musical peers that I came up with, a lot of them just kind of just quit or whatever, you know. And I'll be brutally honest. I'll chalk it up to they just didn't want to work at it. They didn't want to practice. They didn't want to put in the reps. They got distracted by, you know, messing with the ladies. And then some girl got pregnant, you know, then got some girl pregnant. And they had to get a regular job that was more stable. They had insurance because they had to pay child support or whatever, or they chose to marry, whatever, and put the kid on their insurance. Like I held all that stuff off, man. I held it all off. You know, I got married a lot later than my peers. Started having kids a lot later than my peers. You know, but I just had a lot going on, man. And I knew I didn't have time for a relationship. You know, for the goals that I had set, you know. So, you know, the only guy I know that's like me, this guy named Pat Vinings. He lives out in Portland. The dude is he's a freak of nature on bass. He's like a mix between Flea, John Entwistle. He's like if you take Flea and John Entwistle, and they had a kid, but he's an updated version. He's like Billy Sheehan. He's like a cross between Billy Sheehan, Flea, and John Entwistle. That's the perfect, yeah. Plays guitar better than most guitarists you'll ever know. You know, he's gotten kicked off of gigs because he was a better guitarist than the guitarist. You know, and he played bass. This dude is a monster on bass. And we still keep in touch. He was going through personal problems. You know, his girl was kind of like, you know, his girl was kind of like, she was real stank towards him. And I told him, I said, bro, we got a spare room. That was before I turned all this into a weight room. I said, bro, we got a spare room. You can stay here. You know, but you don't got to put up with that. You know, my wife was cool with it. She was like, yeah, if he needs to stay here, he can stay here. Whatever. But he had a lot of stuff going on, you know, in his personal life that I really don't want to get into. Stuff he had to get straightened out. So it was not only his girl, but it was also personal stuff with him. So we eventually we found each other again through Instagram and what have you. But yeah, he was a monster. It's crazy because he's not. A lot of people don't know who he is. You know, a lot of people don't know who he is. You know, this guy's name is Pat Vining. He's in a band called 3 Parts Acid. It's just him, guitars, and bass, all instrumental music. But yeah, 3 Parts Acid. We've since talked about collabing. As a matter of fact, he's on TikTok, 3 Parts Acid, Instagram, 3 Parts Acid, and YouTube, 3 Parts Acid. He might have a Facebook page, 3 Parts Acid. I never bothered to check because I don't really spend too much time on Facebook. I ain't really checking for it. But yeah, the dude's a monster, man. He's a monster. You know what I mean? We talked about something because he just left it, abruptly. We talked about some things. A lot of the stuff he was going through, I went through. So it was kind of weird. He's like, yeah, so and so. Well, with him, I said it. I said, well, look, blah, 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 blah. And this is what I was going through. He said, it's funny you say that because I went through the same thing. So we just aired everything out. And it turned out that we both went through the same thing. And we both recovered. We recovered from it. And then his dad died. It was a lot of stuff going on. I think, no, my dad had already passed. But yeah, it was, we both went through some stuff and then we recovered from it and what have you, and bounced back. But yeah, if you, go find his channel, 3 Parts Acid. What he plays is, he plays a carving 4-string, but it's strung with cello strings. The dude is a monster, man. He told me why he uses cello. He used to have a Padula, a pink Padula, a hot pink Padula. He had a Padula. He had a Fender P-Bass, American Fender P-Bass, and that carbon. And his amp was he had a huge amp. I want to say it was a, Harkey cabinet. I can't remember what kind of, it might have been an Ampeg head or something like that. But yeah, he was a monster, man. He was a monster. And we're probably going to link up. We're probably going to link up again. But go check him out, man. Pat Mining. 3 Parts Acid. Alright, time to sprint. Six. Good. Pirates of the Caribbean, 6. They got Johnny Depp back. That Amber Turd chick, I'm glad they blackballed her. The sad thing is, what she did to Johnny Depp is just too common. I had a girl do that to me. And they locked me up. And the crazy thing is, when it happened, when she said it happened, I used to work the overnight shift at a gas station. I was at work, not for the whole time, but part of the time that she said I supposedly beat her up, no bruises, no marks, no nothing. Her roommates came and testified on my behalf. They were like, we didn't hear anything. He never touched her. As far as we know, they were both in there. It was 2 girls in the other room. One girl had one room, the other girl had the other room. They were like, no, we didn't hear anything. Then she slipped up in court and said she would lie on me. So that was the kicker. So, I'll say this. If you're a man, watch who you deal with. You know, watch who you deal with. You know, I learned that the hard way. Watch who you deal with. You know, because, and it was crazy because she would hit me. I had police reports. I remember one time, so back in the day when they had the big cordless phones. She had a cordless phone and she got so mad she cracked me in the face with it. Bow. One time she dug her nails in my face like, "Urgh." Another time she just punched me in the face. Bow. Another time I'm laying in the bed. So you know you're dozing off, but you still hear things going on. So I'm a musician. I know what things sound like. I pay attention to sound. So I hear water going into a plastic bowl. Like, she must be about to make some ramen noodles. I hear the microwave oven turn on. I'm like, yeah, she's probably making ramen noodles. She took the bowl of water. Next thing I know, I'm like almost asleep. And I feel a splash and it's scalding hot water. Apparently she took that water and she heated it up just to throw scalding hot water on me. So, stuff like that. You know, I would call the cops. And she said that she warned me about this. She said, what would you do if I hit you? I said, if you hit me, I said, I wasn't raised to put my hands on women. I respect women. I said, I'll hit you in your pocket. Because I'll definitely call the cops and get you sent to jail. She said, if you do that, I'll lie. She said, because I'm a white woman and you're a black man. And they'll believe me before they believe you. And she was right. You know, she was right. You know, she was right. I would call the cops. They would just let it go. Oh, well, suck it up. She called the cops and lied. They locked me up like that. You know, no evidence, no nothing. Like I beat her up, but she was fine. Like there was no, you know, they examined her. She had 0 bruises, you know. And then I'm in jail. I'm in the county jail. She comes to visit me. I'm like, I don't want to. They're like, Edwards, you got to visit. I'm like, I see her out in the visiting hall. I'm like, the only thing I said was, I picked up the phone. I said, put my stuff in a box. My sister will come and get it. And that's it. And I stood there and just waited for the visit to be over. You know, I didn't want anything to do with her. You know. So, you know, I was just good. I was good. I know what kind of person you are. You know. You know, you would use race to do somebody wrong. It's like some Emmett Till type stuff, man. And the crazy thing is she flat out told me, she said, you know, I'll tell them you hit me. And they'll believe me because I'm a white woman and you're a black man. And she was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. She was real pretty, you know. And when I left, I was like, I'm good. You can argue by yourself. And she called the cops on me and lied, you know. And she got a slap on, and not only did she not have bruises, her 2 friends came to court and testified on my behalf, and the dummy admitted in court, and she lied. And then she admitted in court that she said that. And then the judge kind of looked at her like, what? And she was like, well, I was only playing. But apparently this is what you did. Your friends, your own roommates testified against you, number one. Number two, you were examined, and you had no physical marks. So apparently you weren't lying. This is what you did. Plus like I said, I had police reports where I called the cops on her. Because she was violent, man. She was a violent woman. But she got a slap on the wrist, and I lost everything. And I'll say this. I don't want to make this about white people or black people. Because years later, I was dealing with this woman, and she was black. She was violent. So I've dealt with violent white women and violent black women. And black girl, I definitely got her locked up. It was my apartment. You gotta go. And she didn't want to hear it. I called the cops. I said, get her out of there. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And he was like, it's his apartment. You gotta go. The cop was like, it's his apartment. You gotta go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Okay, you're under arrest. So those are two big lessons. Watch who you deal with. Watch who you deal with. I feel like I was fortunate in that I didn't, Algeria, okay? You're from Algeria? Okay. So I always say, like, it's not a white or black thing. Violence is endemic of everybody. Every race, every creed, every nationality. We all have a propensity to violence. I had a white girlfriend who was violent, and I had a black girlfriend who was violent. And I knew a lot of females back in the day. I say back in the day because I'm married now. The only female I need to know is my wife. But I used to hang with a lot of females. I knew a lot of females. And just being a musician, you know a lot of girls. I knew violent Asian girls, violent Latino girls. Violence violence is, it's not, like the media and society will have you think it's only one group of people. It's not. And I think nowadays people are so reliant on social media and the media, and just in general. They don't go out and touch grass and actually meet people. All right, it's time for a sprint. They don't go out and meet people. They get all their information about the world from an app on their phone, instead of actually going out in the world and meeting people. I've had girls sit there and give me the come hither look, and their man is standing there right next to them. People are grimy. People are grimy. And my wife has had situations like that, where I'm standing right there, and they say something crazy. And my attention is diverted somewhere else. And my wife kind of comes back later and is like, yo, he said this and he said that. I was like, huh? She was like, I didn't know if I should tell you. I said, it'd have been worse off if you didn't. Because the first thing I would have thought is you were down with it. She said, yeah, I got some advice. And my friend told me that. She said, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't know you were going to beat the guy up. Um, I said, no, I'm not like that. I just cut you off. You know, I'm cutting you off. Um, so, you know, I'm a nice guy. At least I'd like to think I'm a nice guy. But if you violate, you're dead. I don't want nothing to do with you. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. We might be in a social setting, and I might acknowledge you, but you're gonna feel some heat. You know, you're gonna feel heat coming up off me. So I don't want nothing to do with you. Because if you come up and try to smile in my face, I'll probably walk away mid-sentence as you're talking. I'll walk away. You know, if you keep coming in my face, I'm gonna tell you, bro, get out of my face, man. I know what you did. You know, get out of my face. You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm like, I'm being nice to you. You know, I have a record. If I go to jail beating somebody up, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm, you know, and I don't have any violence on my jacket. You know, I've got like, how can I put it? Because YouTube will do something crazy. I've got street pharmacology on my record. Put it that way. Street pharmacology. But nothing violent. You know, I'm what's called a non-violent offender. You know. But if you're a violent offender, there's a lot of stuff you can't do. Like if I was violent, if I had violence on my jacket, I couldn't purchase a firearm. I could purchase a firearm. In Georgia, if you're a violent ex-felon and after a certain amount of years, you passed your, you finish your sentence and a certain amount of years have passed, like 7 or 8 years or something like that, you can get a firearm. Like I can go get a firearm. But I couldn't leave the state with it. But in the state of Georgia, you can get a firearm. You can, you know, you can become a legal purchaser of firearms. But if I have any kind of violence on my jacket, it's a no-go. You know. So, and I do see the need for firearms. You know, I got 4 kids and a wife to protect. Well, I do see the need for firearms for home protection. Like for instance, my neighbor, he had a recording studio in his house. They went in his house, crept in through the window. Thanks for the lights. They went in his house, crept through the window, stole all his equipment. This is my neighbor, and this is a pretty nice neighborhood. It's a really nice neighborhood. But he was having people from the hood come in his house, and, you know. And he always left his basement window open. So they went in through the basement window, robbed him blind. And then the first house I bought was in a kind of shady neighborhood. It was kind of like shady, but not shady. But there were these people next to us in particular. Well, when we first bought the house, I realized they were smoking weed and, you know, brought their little girls down there because there was empty condom wrappers and blunt ashes and blunt roaches in there. And I was like, oh. So I put a deadbolt on the basement door. And I was building a studio. And then when we left, when we moved out of that house, a guy who had a recording studio around the corner from me, right after we left, the guy, somebody went in, shot and offed him, I gotta watch for YouTube. They deleted him, took all his recording equipment. That was God telling me, you don't need to be in this neighborhood. You know? So, but I was kind of afraid of stuff like that, though. You know, people will set you up, man. You know, and I got about $25,000, $26,000 worth of recording equipment. People will gladly, you know, have me pushing up daisies to get my gear. They'll have me pushing up daisies for less. So I got to be careful, you know. I got to check my heart rate. The thing about cardio is you get used to it. You know, if you're riding for 20 minutes, you got to up it to 30 minutes. Then you got to up it to 40 minutes. Then you got to up it to an hour. You know, you know, you're used to it. $14? All right. It's pretty good. All right. I'll wait till the circle comes around. A circuit finishes another circuit. $45, $47. I usually do 45 minutes on a bicycle. I hit another sprint before I get on the elliptical. Where are my golf balls? All right. I moved all this stuff over. Got a nice big enough space. I'm gonna put a treadmill here. You know. So I gotta get on the elliptical. I'm just looking at stuff. This definitely needs to go back. Yeah. That's good right there. Actually, no, it's not good. I might put the treadmill over here. Because this is the only place to do squats. I don't know. I'll figure all that stuff out later. Yeah, I gotta clean that bookshelf. Clean that whole corner out. That golf caddy thing, it's a flight case for golf bags. That they're also great for they're great for if you're doing gigs. They're great for gigs. Put your gear, put your cymbals and stuff like that. Your cymbal stands, your hi-hat stands. Put all your stands in there. I'll put my camera equipment, all kinds of stuff in there. All right. Put on this 40-pound pack. Ugh. Ugh. All right. My water. What did it say? City, I'm mad. Done with it. I'll do like 20 minutes anyway. What? 17 minutes. My wife must be up. Yeah, she gotta be up. She just sent me something. There's a way out. Today's leg day. Man, I don't feel like it. I got it. Ah, man, we got to get fish. our face cabinet. Ah, I know what to do. We're on a slight flanger on the drum bus. That's how he did it. It just smooths things out. Makes the drum sound smooth and smooth. Why do that? Yeah, how do I do that? Just send me all these reels. Mark Edwards and Cheryl Edwards. They've always definitely up. Yeah, he had to stand up. Ah, that was dope. It was improvised. 9 minutes? Okay. Another 8 minutes. I need a straw. I need a giant straw that goes from here to my mouth. I definitely need a straw. Yeah, I need a long straw that goes from here to my water bottle up to my mouth. I saw a video. This was back in the day when Snoop Dogg was still Snoop Doggy Dogg. He was in a recording booth. He had a 40 ounce of OE and a long straw leading up to his mouth. Like rapping like, I was like, come on, man. No, I don't want to do that. Four minutes and 59 seconds left. I hate looking at time because that 4 minutes and 59 seconds will feel like 20 minutes. As opposed to just not even paying attention and just doing you. Spray rain. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move it over. Yeah. I might get rid of that door. Yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of that door. Yeah, I think I will. We don't need it. It's just in the way. Yeah, a lot of these guys, man. A lot of these touring guys, man, they look unhealthy. Ah. Wow, this guitar is good. Alright, good, it's almost over. Wow, this guitar is just good. Marseille Jazz. Let It Ride. It's a good song. Yeah. Good. Alright. Done with the second third of my workout. Now for free weights. I gotta clean these bookshelves. I gotta clean these bookshelves. Okay. Six, seven. One, two, four. Two. Three. Four. This needs more weight. I'll use these. Gotta have some use for them. See how much weight is in here. 45 pounds even. Ugh. Oof. Ugh. 3. Oof. 3. Ugh. Ah. Oof. Ah. Ah. I'm gonna take it easy today. Yeah. Take it easy today. I need it.